Before the internet put the strange and unusual at our fingertips, sideshows were the go-to spectacle for the bizarre and extraordinary. These performers, with their rare physical traits, walked a thin line between being celebrated and ridiculed. But were they truly freaks, or simply individuals who embraced what made them different? Well, join us as we step into the eerie and captivating world of sideshows, where we'll uncover 15 of the creepiest circus freaks that actually existed, captured in rare and unsettling historical photographs. So let's start off with number 15, Edward Mordrake. Edward Mordrake, also famously known as the man with two faces, spent most of his life avoiding people. Anytime he had to step outside, he made sure the second face growing on the back of his head stayed totally hidden. That face was his torment. He believed it wasn't his. It belonged to something darker. Edward pleaded with doctors to remove it, but none could. What disturbed him most was that the face spoke. It whispered constantly, always to him and only him. It never slept. It laughed when he cried and scowled when he smiled. By 22, Edward had attempted to end his life several times and eventually succeeded by drinking poison. Before dying, he wrote a letter describing the unbearable torment of living with the face. "When I smile, it frowns. When I weep, it laughs. It never lets me rest." He asked that the second face be destroyed before burial. He was laid to rest in an unmarked grave, with no stone, no name, just silence. Number 14, Elvara the Gorilla. In December 1952, the Bertram Mills Circus in London staged an act that combined suspense, humor, and crowd participation. The gimmick was a supposed gorilla named Elvira escaped mid-performance, causing a stir among the unsuspecting audience. Of course, Elvira wasn't real. It was an actor in costume, carefully choreographed to create just enough chaos. The clowns added to the illusion by engaging the crowd, while Elvira threatened a random spectator. This blend of shock and laughter was part of post-war European circus culture, where theatrical antics met clever staging. It wasn't about cruelty or fear. It was simply spectacle, pure and strange. Bertram Mills was known for pioneering this kind of immersive experience, investing heavily in acts that blurred the line between illusion and reality. Elvira's fake breakout became one of their most talked-about stunts. It wasn't the animal that amazed the crowd. It was how easily the show could play with perception, thrill audiences, and still send them home laughing. Number 13, Maximo and Bartola. Maximo and Bartola, a brother and sister born in a small village in El Salvador during the 19th century, suffered from a rare condition called microcephaly. It caused their heads to remain abnormally small and their mental development to be limited. Their mother, desperate and impoverished, gave them to a traveling merchant, trusting his promise to provide treatment and education. But the promise was a lie. The merchant sold the children to circus owners who didn't see two young lives, only a marketable display. The circus created a fictional story. Maximo and Bartola were introduced as the last survivors of the ancient Aztec civilization. According to this cruel fantasy, they had been found in the ruins of a forgotten city called Zamiana. Crowds lined up to see them. They were displayed before kings, scientists, and nobles, trapped in a web of deception. Meanwhile, Maximo and Bartola posed when told to pose, smiled when told to smile, and lived quietly behind the curtain. No one truly saw them. Number 12, Mike the Headless Chicken. In the 1940s, a chicken named Mike became a full-blown legend after surviving an accident that should have killed him. A misfired axe blow took off most of his head, but somehow Mike kept going. His owner, realizing the bird was still responsive, began feeding him with an eyedropper and keeping a close watch. The miracle chicken lived for another 18 months. People couldn't believe it. Crowds lined up in towns across the U.S. to witness the so-called Headless chicken in person. Mike toured the sideshow circuit and became a national curiosity, making headlines and drawing in massive crowds. His condition was later explained by the fact that a key part of his brainstem remained intact, allowing him to function without a head. But the science hardly mattered to the public. What captivated them was the strangeness of it all. A chicken defying death and logic, turned into a traveling attraction that no one could quite explain or forget. Number 11. The Middlebush Giant. Arthur James Cayley wasn't born a colonel, and he wasn't from Palestine. But none of that stopped Barnum from calling him Colonel Routh Goshen, the Palestine Giant. The name was pure showmanship, biblical, exotic, larger than life. He likely came from the Isle of Man, though some accounts link him to London and Paris before he ever set foot in the States. Once Barnum got hold of him, Goshen became the Middlebush Giant, named for the small New Jersey town where he retired. His height was a moving target, depending on the flyer, somewhere between 7 feet 4 inches and 8 feet 6. He once headlined Jack the Giant Killer opposite a cast of Little People. Off stage, his story included 3 marriages and a small fortune of $10,000 by the time he died. Whether or not he was truly giant-sized, his stage presence, clever branding, and mystery kept him on posters long after he stopped performing. Number 10. The Giraffe-neck Woman. During the heyday of the Bertram Mills Circus, one of the rare figures was a woman advertised as the Giraffe-neck Ladies. While her real name isn't documented, her image, an elongated neck wrapped with rings, became a symbol of human curiosity and cultural distortion. She wasn't just there to entertain. Medical professionals were often invited to examine her and other performers backstage, fascinated by rare physical traits that science hadn't fully explained. Her appearance was heavily stylized for maximum visual impact, aligning with the early 20th century trend of turning real conditions into mythic performances. She was a blend of human spectacle and pseudoscientific display. The Bertram Mills show capitalized on that image, mixing real awe with theatrical flair. From acrobats to human curiosities, their productions became full-on sensory showcases. And acts like the Giraffe-neck Woman didn't just stand out for their look. They embodied the way sideshows blurred the line between entertainment, science, and cultural voyeurism. Number 9. Hypnotist Cara Kawak. On February 18, 1965, the legendary hypnotist Cara Kawak performed one of his most talked-about acts in a Munich circus, putting 2 live crocodiles into what looked like a trance. But before this job, he'd been a lion tamer, so danger was already part of his routine. But this particular performance leaned into mystery more than brute force. The audience watched, stunned, as the reptiles appeared motionless under his gaze. It wasn't just about risk. It was a full theatrical moment, fusing suspense with an eerie calm. This kind of act was part of a larger circus trend during the mid-20th century, where unpredictability, danger, and showmanship collided. Kawak's crocodile stunt was captured in photographs that circulated widely, marking the performance as both bizarre and unforgettable. In a world where most danger was faked, his show felt uncomfortably real. Cara didn't just tame wild animals, he manipulated the audience's expectations, merging old-school danger with strange, hypnotic stillness. Number 8. Daisy and Violet Hilton. Daisy and Violet were born in 1908 in Brighton. The twin sisters were conjoined at the hips, sharing parts of their lower bodies. Their mother worked in a bar and was unmarried at the time of their birth, something society deeply frowned upon in those days. Because of that, another woman purchased the twins and took full control of their lives. By the 1920s, Daisy and Violet were brought to America, where they began performing in circuses and sideshows. Their rare condition and undeniable charm quickly made them famous, drawing huge crowds and bringing in large amounts of money. Despite the fame, their lives were far from easy, controlled by others and often treated more like displays than human beings. In 1969, around age 60, tragedy struck. They were found dead in their home. Both had caught the flu, but Daisy died first. Violet lived 4 more days, unable to get help. When rescuers arrived, Violet had died, still beside her sister. Number 7. The woman who couldn't grow. Well, Medusa Van Allen shared a name with mythology, but her life was far stranger than fiction. Born in Ohio in 1908, her bones never developed past infancy, except her skull. She couldn't sit, stand, or move independently. She lived flat on her back, her adult mind housed in a child-sized body. Doctors had no answers. Still, Medusa didn't retreat. She joined Ripley's Believe It or Not in the 1930s and embraced the spotlight with her own words. "I enjoy life in much the same way as any normal person." When asked if she'd trade places with someone average, she replied, "Absolutely not. I'd be lost trying to live like others. I've never moved, and I don't waste time wishing I could." Her confidence wasn't for show. It was lived. Medusa died in 1943 while touring with A.J. Budd's Freaks on Parade, just after rejoining the lineup. She left no legacy of pity, only memory, mystery, and a voice that never once asked for sorrow. Number 6. The man with his twin. Laloo, born in India in 1874, gained global fame for an exceptionally rare medical condition. He was born with a parasitic twin attached to his chest. The twin had no head and only partially developed limbs, yet remained fused to Laloo's torso. Such a condition, now classified as parasitic twinning, fascinated doctors and showmen alike during the late 19th century. Laloo toured extensively through Europe and America, performing in fairs and curiosity shows where his appearance drew both shock and admiration. Unlike many sideshow attractions of his era, Laloo was known for his calm demeanor and polite interaction with spectators, often explaining his condition directly to the public. This balance of dignity and curiosity made him one of the most respected figures in his field. While many exploited deformities for attention, Laloo's composed nature and intelligence gave him a distinct reputation, transforming what others might have seen as a curse into a career built on confidence and self-possession. Number 5. Joseph Merrick. Joseph Merrick, known to history as the Elephant Man, was born in 1862 in Leicester, England. At birth, Joseph was a healthy child, but around the age of 3, his body began changing. His skin grew thick and coarse, his head enlarged, and his right arm became abnormally large. As the condition progressed, society, and even his family, turned their backs on him. His father remarried, and his stepmother eventually forced him out of the home. By the time he was 13, Joseph was wandering the streets, trying to survive alone. Eventually, he joined a traveling show where his body became a spectacle. People gathered, paying to see the man they called the Elephant Man. But behind the stares was a gentle, intelligent soul who only wanted acceptance. One day, a London doctor named Frederick Trevis noticed Joseph. He saw past the deformities and offered kindness, dignity, and friendship. Under Trevis's care, Joseph found peace. In 1890, at just 27, Joseph died, trying to sleep lying down. Now let's head over to Number 4. The Australian Aborigine with Albinism. Unzi, often called the Wonderful Australian Aborigine, was actually born in New Zealand during the late 19th century. From an early age, he was taken on international tours as a circus performer, joining the famous Barnum and Bailey show as it traveled through Europe and eventually the United States. Unzi had albinism, which, along with his voluminous white hair, made him a striking figure in a time when physical difference was aggressively marketed. His image was heavily stylized and packaged to appear exotic to Western audiences, with posters exaggerating his origins and appearance. These marketing tactics reflected the circus industry's broader obsession with race and bodily difference as spectacle. While Unzi's actual background remains somewhat unclear due to circus fabrications, his visual identity became iconic in sideshow history. He wasn't simply seen as a performer. He was shaped into a character built entirely around audience expectations, sold as both spectacle and symbol of the unfamiliar. Number 3. Stefan Babrowski. Stefan Babrowski, known across the sideshow world as Lionel the Lion-Faced Man, was born in 1890 in Warsaw, Poland. From infancy, his body grew long, thick hair due to a rare condition called hypertrichosis. By the time he was 4, his mother, believing him cursed, gave him away to a German showman. That man took Stefan on tour across Europe. His face, almost entirely covered in golden blonde hair, became his identity. Crowds stared, fascinated by the human lion. But Stefan wasn't just an exhibit. He was fluent in 5 languages, thoughtful and soft-spoken. Eventually, he made his way to the United States, performing with Barnum and Bailey's circus. Though he earned fame, he always longed for dignity beyond the stage. As he aged, he distanced himself from the spotlight and moved back to Germany. There, he tried to live quietly, far from the gawking eyes. In 1932, at just 41 years old, Stefan died in Berlin, remembered more for his face than for his humanity. All right, guys, now, let's head over to number 2, the half-boy wonder. Johnny Eck was born in 1911 without the lower half of his torso, yet that didn't stop him from becoming one of the most memorable performers of the early 20th century. He gained wide recognition after appearing in Todd Browning's 1932 cult film, Freaks, acting alongside other sideshow artists like Angelo Rossito. But Johnny wasn't just a curiosity. He was a real entertainer. He performed in circuses, variety shows, and even starred in several Tarzan films, often playing otherworldly bird-like creatures. His physical condition made him unforgettable, but his creativity gave him depth. Away from the spotlight, Johnny excelled in music, illustration, and even stage illusion. He built a reputation as a skilled showman with a personality that reached far beyond what sideshows tried to sell. He didn't just perform. He made art from what others saw as limitations, creating a legacy that blended talent, presence, and relentless individuality. Number 1. Myrtle Corbin. Myrtle was born in 1868 in Tennessee with a condition called dipygus, which caused her lower body to develop 2 separate pelvises and 4 legs. 2 of the legs were underdeveloped, but all were her own. Her condition was incredibly rare, and by the time she was a teenager, Myrtle was already performing in sideshows as the 4-legged girl from Texas. People paid to see her, drawn by curiosity. But Myrtle was more than a curiosity. She was graceful, composed, and smart. At just 19, she married a doctor and went on to have 5 children. Medical experts were fascinated by her anatomy, especially because she carried children in one of her 2 pelvises. Though she retired from performing, her name remained known in medical circles and circus history. She lived a quiet life with her family until passing in 1928 at age 60. Her story remains one of the most medically astonishing and humanly overlooked in sideshow history. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.